What does this move mean for you personally? And I guess what are the next steps for you moving forward, heading into the spring, throughout the winter?
Yeah, so I mean, coming from going from Texas to Ohio to here, it's kind of a different. It's not the same transition as becoming full time again. It's kind of one of those transitions of going from the role I was in to we're going to start doing a different style offense here. So it was honestly the transition's been pretty simple. I mean, considering that I know all these kids, so it's not like I'm not learning a new system because kind of the only reason I'm here is because we're going to go into the system. So it's been an easy transition. I mean, the kids, they all know me, and the recruits all still know me. So it's been pretty simple.
You mentioned Bo just getting on campus. He's, I believe, the only offensive lineman that you guys have signed. I guess what's that room looking like at this point?
So realistically, we lose Jordan Meredith, we lose Seth Joes, right? We lose Tyler Witt. Tyler Witt goes on. He left, went to Purdue. Those are three guys that are 3-year starters. There's a massive gap right now between them and the freshmen. And with COVID, we literally have now, I want to say 6 or 7, either redshirt freshmen or they're true freshmen. They're still freshmen. So, I mean, at the end of the day, Bo makes a seamless transition in the guard position, in my opinion. Both tackles are secure. I'm looking for a center currently right now. I think Rusty can honestly be Rusty Stats, Donald. I think he can honestly be a potential NFL center at one point. So, but he's also a really good guard. So right now what I'm working with is where does the right side fit in right now is basically where it's at. Now we've got some young and upcoming kids that, I mean, you'll see during spring ball. We'll see if they pan out to be what they're supposed to be. But I believe a lot in the freshmen. But right now there has to be a bridge to get us into 2021 before we say, hey, go out there. What do we start? We start UT Martin, we go Indiana, or we go UT Martin, we go Army, and then Indiana. Is that correct? And so, I mean, let's be honest. At the school position, you can go out there and you can do that. I mean, as a freshman, me knowing it, an 18-year-old versus a 22-year-old, hate to break it to you, but, I mean, you might make it a couple games, but you're probably going to plateau pretty quickly. So, we shall see.
Coach, this is Matthew Hargrove with the College Heights Herald. Just talking about your coaching style, what do you bring to the table, and how would you like to see the O-line play?
Fierce, angry from the jump. I'm a bit more fiery on that side, I would say. I tell parents, recruits a lot. I say it's my job to train you to make sure that somebody else's kid doesn't hurt you. So I am not one to be very docile. You won't see me be very nonchalant about things. And with us going a little bit faster, it's more of I'm very in your face when it comes to that. And the kids know it from the jump. Now, my biggest 3 things are I'm going to teach you, I'm going to develop you, and then on top of that, I have to get something out of you personally. So the kids know me as they're going to be like, he's got way too much energy. And the way that I'm out there coaching, and my philosophy when it comes to coaching is I'm going to get after you, but as soon as we're done, if I see anything wrong with you, you're going to come hang out with me and we're going to talk about it. So from a football standpoint, I'm going to develop these kids like crazy. That's my number one pet peeve when it comes to don't just yell at a kid and tell them to do something. You got to show them, you got to develop them. You got to take them one-on-one. From a personal aspect of it, these kids can attest to you. I'm probably overly personal with these kids. It's mandatory for them to come in and see me for at least 15 to 20 minutes per week, and we're going to just talk about life and nothing about football. So I had the, how do I say it? And Brian, you tell me if I'm allowed to say this. I had the MF coach, right? I had the coach that wanted to be your friend. I had the coach that wanted to, kind of just, you figure it out. And I try to morph a little bit of whatever I learned from every coach that I had and try to put it all into one thing. So I don't know. I feel like I'm my own style because I can relate to these kids a little bit different, but that's just because I'm still a little bit younger. So, I mean, I try to make them keep me young. I'm 35 and I'm pretty sure I tell people I'm 28 on a regular basis. So, it is what it is.
Coach, it's Jeff Lightsey from WBKO. You talked about the changing in offenses a little bit. Can you tell us about if you have a relationship with Coach Kitley and how that works and how that will be able to apply to the field this year?
Oh, absolutely. So, long story short, I get out of I'm done at Texas Tech. I'm done with the Saints, and I literally look at my college coach. And I'm like, I'm never coaching. It's not going to happen. Y'all have way too crazy hours. I'm done. I go into oil and gas. And I built a relationship with Kingsbury, a guy named Eric Morris, who's a head coach down there at Incarnate Word. He was my roommate. Danny Amendola. We're all kind of running the same circle. And they called me in Lubbock, and they're like, "Hey, we want you to GA." I'm like, "Not a chance." So I just try it out for 6 months, see if you like it, right? So I fall in love with it, right? And within about 7 months, Coach Kitley shows up. So I'm 28. He's about, I want to say, 6 years younger than me. And we're in the same room. We're in a little cubicle, you know, we're all working GAs, doing our GA QC stuff, and we build a relationship from there. I don't think from that moment, I don't think we've ever even left a group message that's part of it. So I've known him for a very long time, and a big portion of it was just knowing each other through a group message. So we worked together for 2.5 years. We stayed in a group message. I went off to Bowling Green. I came here, and then next thing you know, he's here, and I'm just like, what a small world, you know, how this whole thing like panned out. So my relationship with him has been, I know exactly what he ran when it was under Coach Kingsbury, because he did so much there. And now he kind of has his own, verbiage, and he has his own offense. But when it comes to O-line play, we still have the same mentality of how things work. So it's been that's been probably the simplest transition, is being able to just, we know each other's lingo, and now it's more of explaining the lingo to the kids.
You know, Coach, it sounds like there's, the offense struggled at times this past season, but it seems like there's a lot of excitement building around it now, both with the new players and the new coaches coming in. And, Coach Kitley says, bottom line, I was brought in here to light up the scoreboard. I guess, how have you seen that attitude change, these last couple of months?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's completely changed the last couple of months yet. I mean, because you're going to have to see just kind of the difference in the install and spring ball. But that is kind of the mentality. I mean, that from me playing, for Mike Leach, it's kind of built into the system of your own head when you're a player. And it doesn't matter if you're down by 21 or 35, like we're going after it, and we're going to be able to score. And that's kind of the mindset that it pans out to be. So me personally, it's just, that's something that's like second nature to me, that when I hear Coach Kitley say something like that. So that's kind of how the whole thing is driven, and that's how the whole goal. And the second part of it is also to play complementary smart football with the defense. So when it comes to lighting up the scoreboard, I'm not going to lie to you, growing up in Texas high school, going to Texas Tech, and that's been my entire life. You know what I mean? And then coaching in different offenses is kind of the same thing, but there's just a different mindset of how much we're going to score. I think when you talk to Coach Kitley and anybody that's come from the system that we've come from, it's kind of a how many can we actually score. So I mean, I don't get overly excited, because my brain says for every touchdown we score, that's probably the faster that, the O-lineman's out there. Now, we're not trying to have 19 play drives, but at the same time, if you score in 3 plays, there's a good chance you're about to be right back out there. So, it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. But I mean, if you don't love this, don't coach in this offense. So.
Hey, Coach, Tyler Mansfield, Rivals.com here. I guess for you being on the staff for a few years now in the quality control position, and now you were obviously the OL coach at Bowling Green, and now to get a new role here with the team you've been a part of, just how helpful is that? And I guess the transition you already mentioned was easy, but I guess just to have that role now with guys you've been around for quite a while now.
Well, yeah, I think the greatest thing is I've been a complete bridge and link from this system to the old system. So when Coach Kitley explains something in his lingo, I can immediately translate it into the lingo that was from before. So the people that are still on staff, and obviously Coach Helton, I can boom, 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 boom. I can guide them in the direction of what we're doing. I would say that's the best thing for just an overall whole, because I can make the translations really quickly, because over the last 2 years I learned this offense, and and so we can plug and place everybody in the right direction almost immediately. So if there was anything that was helpful, I would say being able to bridge the lingo with the play calling so that everybody's on the same thing. I mean, at the end of the day, football is football. We all know that, you know what I mean? So it's just how are you running this play and which way you're doing it? And there's a lot of similarities to some of the stuff we did, and then there's obviously a lot of not similarities to the things that we did. So when you can mesh those together and get everybody on the same page, you're in great shape.
Coach shared with the Daily News again, we talked about some of those younger guys that are going to need to fill in some of those spots. And you said those 2 returning spots are pretty much locked in with Cole and Mason. With those 2 guys, I guess, what are the expectations this offseason heading into next year?
It's a big – I put – honestly, when it comes to pressure, I put the pressure on the outside, the 2 guys. You know, you've got 2 guys, one – so Cole comes in and he starts – he gets injured. He takes a medical red shirt. You got Mason who comes in as a true freshman. He has to start. Then the older guys come back, and then they've had so many ups and downs. Last year was their first year to actually just start. So they started at left, started at right. There wasn't any transition between them. They had to work out the kinks in between. Now, as far as them, they're the leaders of the offensive line, and I've already been very blunt with them. It's time to get the younger kids right. There's no more there. You know, the championships that were won here before, they were around those guys. You know, they were around guys that won championships, did a great job. If this is their show, if they don't want to make it their show, I'm going to force them to make it their show, because we don't have any time. It's spring ball, and the kids below them have to catch up to speed with them as fast as possible. You're showing the by the way. Okay.
I just have one more. You mentioned, we talked a lot about the guys on the staff, but Coach Laughlin comes in. I guess, what's your relationship like with him and trying to get the running game going this year?
It's about a 3-day relationship. So it's been awesome. I've had no issues. And he comes from a ton of experience. And I said, listen, however you want to run it, we'll gauge around you. But I mean, we're gonna get this ball moving. We're still gonna run the ball. It's not like we're gonna throw the ball every single play. Be prepared to have at least 100 to 2, like at best, you know, you're talking 200 yards. But at the bare minimum, we're still looking for 100 yards out of a single rusher in a game. There's no, and I know that's always the stigma when it comes to the supposed like air raid. But I never had a game where we didn't have at least 100 yards single rusher. You know what I mean? So I think he knows the expectation of what we want. I think it's going to be learning his lingo and getting the simplification down for him. But outside of that, he's picked it up phenomenal. So I would have no issue in there. And we know he might be the most jacked, guy on staff. So I mean, I would doubt when he walks in the room. I'm pretty sure everybody's going to listen really quickly, because he yells at me from the room over. He's like, "Hey, Ham," I'm like, "What's up? We going to the weight room, or what are we doing?" So we'll figure. I mean, we'll all be on the same page really quickly around here.
All set?
All set.
He might be. Does anybody come close?
I don't nowhere. Nowhere close. I need to go start doing stuff. I feel like immediately when I see him, I'm like, I think I'm out of shape. I need to start this. I won't eat pizza today. I swear, Coach. I won't.